Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, and 2 days ago I competed in the OCB Magnum muscle. Did I win? No. Am I thrilled with how I did? Abso-frickin-lutely. It was such a great experience. I feel like a lot of people come into bodybuilding and they're like, I want to win a pro card. I want to be the best on stage. I want to come in first in my class category, division, whatever, right? That wasn't my perspective at all. I wanted to show up. I wanted to be better than I ever have been before. I was hopeful that I would have a full set of abs. And I basically wanted to have a deserving placing. What that meant, who knows? You can't really control what your competition is doing, who your competition is, because they're going to be trying just as hard as you, or at least that's what you have to tell yourself. And they want to bring their best physiques to stage too. So you have zero control over what they do, how they show up. You have zero control over what the judge's subjective opinion of who the best on stage is, but what you can control is who you are and what you bring to stage. And that's exactly what I did, and I am so proud of that. In my novice class, I placed second. So I'm not upset with that placing. The guy that I lost to was easily the most conditioned guy at the show. He was probably about 5% body fat, shredded to the bone. Like glute striations, feathering. You could see his IT band, his TFL was crazy to find. Just super shredded. Like he had clearly put in the effort. You could see it in his face, sunken in cheekbones. And objectively, he was super freaking lean compared to me. Also objectively, I was larger than him by, I don't know, maybe 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and 5 or 6 inches. So, then it was going to come down to posing. I feel my posing was a bit better than his, but that's, again, subjective. Bodybuilding is subjective. And I knew it was basically going to be a comparison of lean versus size. And I was okay with that because I felt that I had the package that fit what I wanted to bring. So when the subjective opinion of the judges placed him in first, I wasn't upset whatsoever. I'm thrilled with this second place result because I brought a physique to stage that I thought was good. I also didn't really pump up until we went out for the open because I didn't want to waste all of my carbs, my energy on the novice class. I just wanted to use it as extra stage time, get my feet wet. Turns out my posing was actually better during novice. I was holding my breath a little bit better during novice, but that's besides the point. So that's pretty cool though. Now in my open class, I placed third. So I placed third behind probably the most deserving amateur competitor I've ever seen. I was shocked he wasn't already a pro. Yeah, I walked backstage. I saw him back there. I'm like, all right, cool. Everyone else is fighting for second. Then it came down to, again, were they looking for lean or were they looking for size? The guy that beat me in my novice class also beat me in my open class. So in first place was the guy that didn't compete in debut, novice, or any other classes. He just competed in open. Second place was the guy that beat me in my novice class, and then I got third place in my open class. Now, there were 7 total classic physique competitors, but it was a stacked lineup, in my opinion. For an amateur show, I thought it was really good. And the show was put together so well. The promoters, they were awesome. Everything was super well organized. They were always responsive to emails. They were getting back to me within a day max. It was awesome. And then as far as the check-in process, the actual showing up to the venue, all of it was super duper smooth. Couldn't have asked for a better promoter or show. The venue was also amazing. It was West Ashley High School, and it was cool in the back, it was cold almost. So no one broke a sweat backstage. It wasn't like we were overcrowded. It was beautiful in there. Everything was super duper nice, and I am so thankful it was at that stage because it was an awesome stage. I feel I accomplished the goal that I set out to do with this show, and that was to have a physique worthy of stepping on stage. I am also very proud that when I stepped on stage, I felt that I adhered to the classic physique criteria. The OCB, they want separated but not overly striated. They want vascular but not overly vascular. They also want symmetry. They want left to right, front to back, top to bottom. They want it to be symmetrical. They want it to be a well proportioned physique. And with my body, with the tools that I had at the point when I started prep, I feel I did the best I possibly could to bring that physique. So I'm happy. There is no regret. There is no anger that I didn't win a pro card. I had the time of my life getting up on that stage, and it was awesome. So, over the last couple days, I've been reflecting about everything that happened during prep. Every little speed bump or hiccup, or just little difficulty that just became a nuisance. And when you think about prep itself is a monster. It is a challenge within itself. And to have other things going on around prep too, it just gives you a whole new respect for one, professional bodybuilders. That is pretty crazy, especially if they have day jobs. Like, I can only imagine the depths that they need to go to all the time to be able to maintain their output, to maintain their performance in their job. Like, there are levels to this shit. Bodybuilding is like an iceberg, and I only crack the surface. Like, I don't even know what kind of depths they need to go to get through those crazy prep. Just prep itself is such an enormous task, and I don't think a lot of people realize that when you start out. Like, it is not just lifting and eating less. It is doing your cardio, right? By the end of prep, I was doing about 100 minutes of cardio every day. And that was about for 2.5 weeks. 1,000 calories of cardio. Of course, I didn't do every single day of cardio, but like, if I told my coach, hey, I'm feeling really run down, he'd say, don't do your cardio today. It's okay. Like, you're at a spot where you can. But yeah, on top of the cardio, you have your lifts. Maintaining your lift intensity as you go through prep was probably the hardest component about the physical side of things. And I don't say that lightly because I love lifting, and cardio is like my least favorite thing in the world. But lifting got really tough. Getting myself out of bed to go lift, I was like, I don't know. Like, I was fearful of leg day because I knew that I would need to hit them so hard because they were my weakest part. And like, getting to legs in like the last 5 weeks was just always challenging. Then there's the food. The food, a lot of people will say, is the most challenging, but for me, it was like once you get into the swing of things, it is what it is. Like, you can't really change it. Food's going to go down low. You'll feel hungry at times, but then it's like you kind of just get used to it, at least for me. And I was able to just like feel hungry, not the best, but you know what, whatever. Your brain sort of just goes into such a depraved state where like you need food, but you can't even think about the fact that you need food. And it's hard to explain unless you've been there. Like, you'll have trouble moving, and your first thought isn't, oh, I need food. It's, holy shit, this is a lot of energy. Like, I remember there were a few times where like I was in class and I was trying to get up from a chair, and I had to be like, come on, Cole, you can do it. Get up. Get up. And I was like in my head talking myself up and trying to like hype myself. Getting out of a chair sometimes felt like a legitimate workout. It was crazy. I never felt that tired or stressed or like run down ever. But like, I was dead. I was a shell. There's no other way to explain it. Like, my friends, I felt like had trouble recognizing me during those weeks. I was not myself whatsoever. People were like, are you okay? Like, you really don't seem like yourself. And I'm like, yeah, just give me a week. Give me a week, right? Until more food came. And that was one of the most crazy feelings. I was worried that wouldn't end after prep. I feel great right now. I mean, I competed 2 days ago. Granted, I've gone a little overboard on food, but like, not so crazy that like I'm up 30 pounds. Like, it's not like that. Like, I'll be fine. Like, all I gotta do is lock back in. And that's what I plan on doing tomorrow. Tomorrow starts the reverse diet officially. Today is the last day where I'm not really counting, not really caring too much, but I am trying to get sort of back into the swing of things now. Like today is about resetting and getting back to usual. There's also the posing element of prep. Posing is something I didn't expect to become challenging because I love it so much. But I was just so tired by the end of my days or by the time I was at the gym that, like, especially at the end of prep, I just no energy for it. Early, like, when I say early, I mean like 12 to 15 weeks out, I was like, oh, like next week I'll start endurance posing and practicing with endurance holds. And then all of a sudden next week would come and I'd be like, oh, I'm tired. Next week I'll have more time. I never had more time. So that's something that next prep I need to just lock the fuck in early and get it done. Because I can't not be able to hold my poses or take care of my stage presentation next time. The same way I prioritize my posing clients, I need to prioritize myself and make sure that I've got that shit down. Because that can't happen again. Now, another reason I am just very proud of myself for having gotten through this is I was in school the entire time. Like, I had a 1 week break in there for spring break, but all of prep I was in school. I had practicals, I had exams, I had my classes and my labs, and labs got tough towards the end of prep. Labs are something I wasn't expecting to be as challenging as they were, but they got really tough towards the end. Especially, we were doing gait training labs. So, neuropopulations, they sometimes have trouble walking. So, we were doing like assisting swing and making sure that the person is pivoting right as they're going, weight shifts, knee flexion, hip flexion. I was too depleted to be in lab, but now we're good. We've had food, and it's thankfully mentally I was there. Just physically, it was tough. During prep, I wasn't just going to the gym and going to school and that's it. I was also doing online fitness and posing coaching and working at Gold's Gym as a trainer, and I still am. But I just can't believe I was doing all of that during prep. I did the math between school, online fitness, and posing coaching, as well as training at Gold's Gym. I was averaging about 65 to 80 hour weeks for about 18 to 20 weeks of that prep until like a week and a half out. That was absurd. Just being able to maintain that type of output until the very end, like, it got really tough. So I don't know how I did it, but I got through it. During prep, I also was really trying to expand and grow my business. One of my goals is to eventually turn this into a gym, into a physical therapy clinic, kind of have them attached. And that's 10 years down the line. But I'm trying to think ahead, trying to start and plant those roots now. So during prep, I learned how to code, and I coded an entire website. I was too stubborn to use like Squarespace or paying for a subscription-based thing for websites, so I was like, screw that, I am just going to learn how to code. And I did it. So I coded an entire website, and I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. I still can't believe I figured all of that out because coding sucks. Anyone who codes professionally, I have a whole new sense of respect for your work because that stuff is infuriating. There's always something that's wrong, something that's a little off. It's almost never perfect. And it takes so much time to troubleshoot. And maybe that's because I'm inexperienced. Maybe it's because that's just the nature of the beast. Or maybe it's both. But it was not fun. But I also worked on a logo. I finalized my logo during that time, got it service marked, and it is now able to be used on merch, which I then made. So I made merch for the first time for my brand, which is awesome. I'm so happy I did that before the show, too, because then I was able to get like a long sleeve set to adapt cotton, so I was able to have like a full black set to adapt outfit to have my tan in, which was awesome. Then I was also working a bunch to try and figure out how to grow on social media. Not that I wanted to become an influencer or anything, but like just how to like publicize and how to publicly present myself and speak in a way that doesn't sound like I'm an amateur at this. Like, that's my goal with everything, right? I don't want to seem like an amateur. I want to seem or be a professional at whatever I am doing. Whether that be bodybuilding, whether that be video production, whether that be growing and opening a business, a gym. I don't want to seem or be like an amateur. I want to know all that there is to know, and I want to be as good as I can possibly be at those things, right? And so I wanted to become better at social media for understanding the business element of how to grow and publicly portray yourself to help expand. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job at that. I wasn't really trying to get followers, but I feel like the overall production quality of like what I was making or the value that it provides went up. And is it perfect? Hell no. Is there so much I can improve on? Yeah, absolutely. But compared to where I was, it's definitely an improvement. So during prep, I did a lot of driving and traveling, which is not the best because it makes it so that you need to plan so much further ahead in terms of bringing meals, where you're going to be able to do your cardio, where you're going to be able to lift. It's just, it is kind of a headache. But I drove to and from New York twice, I believe. So South Carolina to New York, New York to South Carolina. So I did that. Then I went to California, which was awesome. Came back, drove from South Carolina to Pennsylvania, from Pennsylvania to New York, and then New York back to South Carolina. And that was a lot. And then I also moved. So that was crazy. In the last 3 weeks of prep, the last like 3 weeks out and 2 weeks out, I was moving. That sucked. I had no energy. I was like near passing out all the time. Not actually passing out, but just like so exhausted. I was like just felt dead, panting like a dog. And made it happen. I moved into a new place and I am very happy with it. So I can't believe I got that done in the last like 2.5 weeks, but did that. That travel was not all just like straight travel. Like when I was in Pennsylvania, I was there helping coach my brother for his first bodybuilding show, and that was awesome. It was a great time. But like that was also at like 8 weeks out. So at that point, I thought I was struggling then. I had no fucking idea what was coming. But yeah, that felt hard because I got to go out there, and then that was the last time I think I really had a cheat meal, at least a major one. We went out for like all you could eat sushi afterwards, and I had a fairly good amount. And then and then it was my father's birthday when I was in New York, so also had a meal there. So that was like 2 cheat meals back to back. That was like the most off plan I ever got during prep. That was like the most off plan I got during prep. I stuck to it like crazy. I really didn't deviate much from the plan unless I just felt ill or like just like I couldn't do it. And like I'm pretty good at listening to my body, at least I think I am. And there were some days where I was like, all right, is this my body or my brain? And you really need to think about that and think like that during prep because it's not clear and simple. Also during prep, I did a lot professionally. I went out to California and presented at a national conference for the first time. I was doing some research with Dr. Seaman on stroke gait analysis, and we presented that research out at CSM in Anaheim, which was awesome. That was my first time ever presenting a poster, and I had a really good time. I got to practice in front of all of my classmates, and then we flew out to California, presented, got to go to a bunch of conference talks about like return to sport criteria and just basically network and meet a ton of professionals in the field, which was awesome. Super great experience, and I really hope to go to CSM again, hopefully presenting more research, which I will get into now. So during prep, I presented research, but I was also working on writing the manuscript for said research. So I am finishing up that now. I made it through the methods and the results, but now there's still like the discussion, introduction, and conclusion, but I'm going to have help with those from Dr. Seaman. So during my time at CSM, I met Dr. Donaldson, who is a bigwig in the ortho physical therapy world. She is the current president of AOMPT and knows everyone. So when I was there, I was talking with her and I'm like, oh, wow, so she has a lot of connections with a lot of the things that I want to be doing. And so I had been talking with her and sort of took her on in like an advising role. And like she's like a mentor now. And I joined her research lab. So we're going to be doing research, probably a systematic review on sarcopenia in aging adults. And basically, we're going to be looking at the resistance training and exercise interventions that are being used on those individuals. And we got into that basically starting at like 7 weeks out. Like right after I got back from California, we started talking about that. So that's finally, we are putting through the registration into Prospero and hopefully going to be able to start that soon. So that's another thing I did during prep. And then lastly, I was able to relatively maintain my friends, family, and like personal life things that were going on. My social engagement definitely took a huge hit. Probably from like 10 weeks out to show day, I was more of a hermit than usual, which, like, I'm usually somewhat of a hermit, but like, even for like smaller gatherings, I was like, yeah, that's past my bedtime, can't do that. Or, I gotta do more cardio, I'm sorry, I can't make it. But thankfully, my friends are all very understanding because, like, the majority of my friends are either in health and wellness, they love fitness, or are just like awesome people that want to support me in my goals. So, thankfully, my friends all stuck with me, and I hope I wasn't too much of a bitch to them whenever I was hangry. But contact with family, it definitely decreased because, like, I live away from my mom, my dad, my brother. So then when I would call them, I would just be mentally brain dead. So I couldn't really express to them, like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, I truly want to be talking with you, but I feel so brain dead. And I did my best to tell them that, but it was crazy at times. There's just no energy. You don't want to talk to anyone. And, like, you hope that your family understands that. And I'm fortunate that mine did, and mine were supportive during that, but it was hard to articulate to them. And then personally, it was just a really awesome experience getting to see what I could do and how hard I could push myself, because I did something I thought I would never really be able to do, and that is a true bodybuilding prep where you get to true competition levels of leanness. So I'm really proud that I was able to do that because I never thought I'd be able to, never thought I was the type of person that would want to, but I did it. And I can't believe I did it. So I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy with the entire experience. There were times I was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do another day. And I really learned to live in the moment and not to think too far ahead. Don't overthink everything. Sometimes just trust the plan. Follow the plan. Don't think about it. That was one of my goals for this prep. Sort of let my coach handle things and not stress. And it worked out pretty well. I was so thrilled with the result. I came through exactly the way I wanted, and I am going to come out the other side even better. 60 weeks from now, that's the next time I'll be able to compete. I plan on being the best version of myself. I want to be the same weight, if not lighter, when I step on stage, which means I'll be leaner and more muscular. And I'm really hopeful that the package I can bring to stage there reflects an even more dedicated prep, a prep where I was really, really trying to focus on everything I could control. And I think that structure going into my graduation, like studying for my boards, could even be really good. But right after I graduate, I think 6 to 8 weeks after, that would be like the most ideal time for me to go and do another show. Just before I go out into the working world, give me the time to really dial in those last 8 weeks, step on stage, do the best I can. In the meantime, if you want to improve your physique, if you are trying to get fitness coaching or posing coaching, you know where to find me, settoadapt.com. I've got the inquiry form in the top right at the menu. Let me help you become the best version of yourself that you have ever seen.